Hello there! Welcome to Syntax Bytes. I am really late, and I apologize. I had a ton of technical difficulties, but we're here. Hopefully, you can see me, you can hear me. Let me know in the chat if you're out there. And welcome in. We're going to have some fun today. We're going to write a bunch of code, and let's get into it. So the first thing we'll do to just get warmed up and also ease my nerves after sitting here not being able to go live for almost an hour, we're going to do some CSS battles. So these are just little challenges where you essentially try to recreate the image that you see with CSS, and you can play along at home as well. But let's see. We've got Caitlin in the chat. What's up, Caitlin? Welcome in. And Fob, good to see you. And Yvion, hello. Ishmael says, this will be amazing. So hyped. Nice. And Fob says, really miss the Coding Garden streams. Please say you will do one soon. I will. Right now, my plan, starting next week, is to try to at least do a Friday stream. And then the week after that, I'm going to try to get to 2 streams. We're there. We're finally there. It's going to start happening. And what's up, Randy? Randy is Syntax's producer. And Caitlin is Syntax's social media manager. They're tuning in. Good to see them. And Daruk, good to see you. And Kaman said, is this not happening? It's happening, just almost an hour late. So I assume you can hear me if you're responding to me, so that's good. All the tech issues are worked out. And what's up, Jack? Good to see you too. And Enrique, welcome in. All right, let's jump into one of these CSS battles, and I'll share the link in the chat if you would like to battle along at home. So here it is. Also, if you're, this command might work. It definitely works on Twitch. !CSS battles will get you all the links. And then let's see if it works on YouTube, because I did enable the Streamlabs bot. We can only hope. Sometimes it's pretty slow. But this is the first one that we're going to do, and it doesn't seem too bad. It doesn't seem too bad. Essentially, we have to recreate this thing on the right-hand side here. We need a circle that's in the top left corner, and then like a beige background. So this should be pretty easy. Now, these CSS battles, technically you're getting scored on the amount of code that you've written. So shorter answers with the least amount of code and least amount of white space will win. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try to get it working, because getting it super small is a whole other battle altogether. But let's do it. Let's write some code. Okay, so the first thing I want is I want to turn this square into a circle. So let's do it with border radius. So I'm going to set the border radius to 50%, which should take that square and turn it into a circle like that. Great. Now I need the size to be increased. Also, like by default, it's already in the top left corner, but it looks like it might have some margin. You see there's some white space around that circle. So is it the body that has margin? Actually, I'm going to remove margin from everything. I'm going to say select everything and set margin to none. Yeah, look at that. We are on our way. So that shifted it to the top left. And now I just need it to be bigger. So we're going to go with 250 pixels. Let's see if that's too much. That's too much. What's nice is you can hover like this to see how you're doing. So it's probably like 200 pixels. Look at that. We've got ourselves a perfect little circle. And now we just need to set the background color, which should be super easy. Over on the right-hand side, they give us our colors. And so let's just set the body's background to be that color. Sweet. Looks good to me. The circle doesn't look dark enough. Yeah, well, yeah, they put the wrong color in here. No. Here, F5. No, this one. Yeah, see, DD6, it should be D86. I'm going to update this. Yeah, that is better. I think we've done it. Let's submit. Let's see what happens. We did it! We got 100% match. What's fun is, like, you can do this in a lot of different ways. Right? I just use like super basic CSS, right? We've got a div. I mean, I guess I don't know of any better way to do this. You might have to pull out some tricks if you want this to be even shorter. But like code golfing essentially would be like remove all the white space you can, so it's like super not readable. You'd like write it like let's just do it, because at least we got it working. Like this, and your Basically, it's like hand-done minification. But if we do this, our score will increase. On the more complex ones, I'm not going to do this because it'll be a lot of stuff. And then we get rid of all that, get rid of that. Honestly, I think since we have the curly braces, we can put it all on a single line too. Like this. And like this. And like this. So right now our score is 601. Let's see what we get. $709. Yeah, so we decrease it. Yeah, we've got some suggestions in the chat. Who says, put the width and value, then do aspect ratio 1, so it's always square. Will that work without border radius? I've never tried that. That's an interesting suggestion, Phylon. Let's see. So instead of doing border radius, oh, I see what you're saying. Just set the width and then aspect ratio 1, which should set the height automatically. Is that shorter than height? I guess it is. Maybe? I don't know. I'm going to move on, though, because there's a couple others that I want to do. So, yeah. Yeah, so once you remove the comments, that helps, too. Thank you, Vivian. Put the background color in the star selector. Yeah, I guess that could work, right? Because then the div's background color would override it. That would actually decrease a little bit. So if we just say background like that, this sets the background color as beige for everything, and then we override the background color of the div. There's definitely a lot more tricks we could pull out. Remove the div and put a pseudo element on the body. Yeah, there's a lot of tricks. Like don't have a lot of experience doing code golf with CSS, but there's a bunch of tricks that you can bust out. I've done code golf with JavaScript, but not as much with CSS. Remove the closing tag of the div. Yeah, that would work too, right? Because HTML is super forgiving. Don't write code like this at home, my friends. Don't do that. Oh yeah, and then Scott is saying put inline styles on the div. Oof. I said I wasn't gonna code golf, but I get carried away thinking about it. But yeah, that would probably make it a little bit shorter too. Because then you wouldn't need curly braces. Also, now that I think about it, we could also remove the spaces after the property declarations like that. Okay, I have to move on. Yeah, this is a Chrome extension that lets me do the pop-ups. It's pretty nice. It doesn't work for Twitch chat. I want to extend it to work for Twitch chat as well. I might do that like on a coding garden stream or something like that. But yeah, we did it. Let's see what else is going on. I think we have a message. Yeah, here's the thing. Is Twitch in 720p? I had to do a whole thing to get the stream relay working. We got 360. It is only 720. Is YouTube in 722? That could be an issue with my relay server. It should be good enough for today, but I'll have to fix it in the future. YouTube is 1080? I don't know why that is. We'll have to fix it in the future. But thank you, Untitled Gooseberry, for the follow over there on Twitch. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is challenge number 38. This one will be a little bit more interesting, and there's probably a lot of ways to go about it. But when I first saw this, I just thought CSS grid, right? Like we could just use a CSS grid with a certain number of columns and rows, and then just set the background color of every single cell within that CSS grid. So this should be pretty fun. Yeah, and Kristen says, that one looks cool. Yeah, it should be fun. I mean, I guess there's multiple ways you could go about it, right? Because you could have a beige square and then a red rectangle. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it out as a grid with equal size squares, and then parts of that will take up each of the shapes. Right? Does that make sense? That's the plan. Let's do it. Okay. First of all, remove the comments. That's going to improve your score. Let's remove the margin from everything, just like we did before. It's like a little reset. And then let's style this. This will be the parent. And I guess technically, if we set the body as display grid, then all of the elements we have below it will be within that grid. So if I do like grid, template, columns, I'm going to want 4 columns, I think. How does this work? Repeat 1 fraction 4 times. And then if I add 4 of these, that didn't work. Did I do it in the wrong order? Repeat 4 1 fraction? Yeah, that's the way. And Scott is saying, I would do it with 1 div with after and before with a border on each. I'd like to see that solution, Scott. If you have free time to work on it right now, we could look at your code too once you're done. Yeah. Honestly, like the reason I'm practicing this stuff is because I'm not the best at CSS. I don't know. It just screamed CSS grid to me when I saw it. Okay. Let's set the background color of this. Actually, we can create some classes. I'm not even going to try to code golf it. We're going to write some decent code. I'm going to create a beige class, and that just has the background set to that. And then these first 2, I'm going to give a class of beige, like that. Like that. Nice. See, we're on our way, right? And then we'll have a light red class too. And that's going to be this one. Oh, no, not that. Light red. Okay. And then we need a blue class. You probably would want to set this up with like CSS variables, but in this case, this should be the only places where I need to access these colors. So I'm not going to use CSS variables, but if we set this to blue, cool, right? So we are on our way. And then all we got to do is copy paste those divs and then do it one more time. But then we're going to have to work on these like half cells, right? So those are there. We'll do these last 4, but we'll change the color. So the first one is going to be light red. And then we have another one that's light red. And then we have the last 2 are blue. See, it's so easy with CSS grid. It's probably not the least amount of code, but basically each of these cells is just taking up yeah, it's a equal width cells that all have a specific background color. But what we need to do now is these 2 red ones, we need to split them in half and set half their color to that dark red. So how are we going to do that? First of all, it's going to be inside of this one. I think I'll create a div inside this div and give it a height of 50%. Well, this has to be like an inline style. I guess I could give it a class too. I don't know. I'm all over the place. Style, height, 50%. And we'll give it a class of dark red. Did I call it dark red? What did I call it? I don't have one for that. We need to create one. Cool. So it's there, but it's in the wrong spot. How do we push it down? There's a lot of ways to do it. I could literally just have another div. Honestly, without creating or I guess I could, I don't know, I could do a transform. The easiest way, if I don't care about code golfing, is just put another div on there and make it light red. Right? Easy, because now you have like a half one that's light red and then the dark one underneath it. And then I need to do this same thing in the last light red one down here, but instead of height, it should be width. Yeah, so if we do width on both of these. Oh, but then it has no height. Can I set a div height? Here? Okay, that completely broke it. I think I'm gonna have to put a fixed height on these. Like height 50 pixels. Or no. It should be the right. It should be the right one, right? Do I just have the wrong? Oh, there's something there. Did I copy the wrong color? No, because that one's dark red. So we have light red, 50% width. What is happening? I guess I could also set it to 50 pixels because they're all 100 by 100. Do I need height 100%? Because right now the styles for the divs are all 100 pixels. Divs don't have a default height. Well, it's styled here. Like every single one is 100 by 100. How do I debug this? Let's give this a different color, like beige. Oh. Is there some kind of like blend mode on? Because look, this has class of dark dash red. Do I have a syntax error? I guess remove the class entirely? Yeah, it's like, you see, it's blending. That's really weird. There's some kind of like blend mode. You see how it's like lighter? I have never experienced this before. I guess, I mean, I could even say like, let's, you know, you're completely right. Fob is saying we should inspect it. I think I'm just going to set background transparent on the parent. Oh, but then, yeah, look at that. There's some weird blend mode. Why are my backgrounds blending? Background blend mode. Normal, multiply. I'm not crazy, right? Can anybody in the chat? This is really weird that it's blending these colors together. Set it to black. Then it doesn't blend at all. All right, yeah, we're gonna inspect. Let's pop this down here. Override the blend mode. Yeah, okay. I guess I've never used CSS blend though, so I guess I could do background blend mode normal. That's what I want, right? Normal. Did something go wrong with my grid? So we've got light red. Let's remove the background. By default, the background will be black. So light red, blue, blue. And then if I set this to light red, that's fine. And then inside, we have a div. Then we have another div. And then if I set this to light red, yeah, something went wrong. I think something went wrong in my my CSS, because here, if we do this, I'll set this one to dark red, and then give this one a width of 50%. There's a global blend. Is that what's happening? I don't know. I think maybe now I can just make this the right half, but even that, huh? I'm gonna make this one 50% and then just push it to the right. Okay, and then to push it to the right, I could do like a flex box with flex end. That's where my mind is going, and I don't want to spend any longer on this, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this to a flex box, and then justify content flex end. Cool. We got there, but I am thoroughly confused. Yeah. Okay, let's submit it so I can move on to the next one. Cool. Got a 600. Not bad. Yeah, Chris was saying there's a global blend mode for an alternate approach. Yeah, let's see. It's got, you might have to throw it into like a GitHub gist or something like that to share the code. But yeah, I'd love to see how you did it with a single div. Because Scott, earlier they were saying do it with one div with after and before with a border on each. Fascinating. Anybody else in the chat give it a go? What's up, Complexity? Welcome in. Good to see you. Oh, Scott might be messaging me directly. Let's open up Slack. There we go. Let's check it out. Wow. Okay, so this 2.9 color, which one is that? That's the dark blue. Okay, so set the overall background to dark blue, and then, oh, I see. Okay, I see what you, okay, yeah. This like L shape threw me off. I was like, how are you gonna do that? But basically, that's just the background, and then this is a single element with two borders on it. Huh, okay, so the div is 200 by 200, which gives us this beige square. Okay, so this is our beige square with that color. Okay, and then after it and before it, we're setting the background to the light red. So the after and the before are going to create these two light red elements. Okay, and then the after full height, half width, left 100%, because it's their position absolute. So the after by default would be like here, and then you're pushing it to the right with a border bottom. It's beautiful. This is a really good solution, Scott. And then the same thing with the div that's below it. 100 pixel height, full width, and then push it down 100% using top, and then style the border right. It's interesting that you had to use Z index on there. Here, let's throw this codes in. Can you explain why you need the Z index? Not necessary? Okay, cool. Scott saying it's not, are we not cut up here? Cool, it's just a little bit extra. Chris is saying you could use the same CSS rules for before and after and then just apply a transform to one of them. Oh, yeah, that'd be great, because right now the after is the right-hand side and the before is the bottom. But if you just style both of them to be like the after, but the second one, you just rotate it left, now it would be underneath it. These are some clever solutions. Very nice. Glad to see it. Okay, last one before we start writing some Svelte codes and Rust codes. We're gonna do the. And now that I look at it, I'm like, oh gosh, do I want to do this? This one, it looks simple enough. Hopefully, I don't run into similar issues. But we've got a little circle in the center, split background color, and then some lines through the circle. I'm going to give it a go. If you want to follow along at home or try it at home, it's number 91. Let's try it. Okay, for step 1, remove the margins from everything. Cool. Step 2, we want to set the, we'll set the body to be, background color to be that pink color. So we'll just say body background is this color. Cool. And then we're going to set this div to be the circle. So we're going to set it to be that color. We'll set a border radius to 50%. So now it's a circle. Cool. And then we need the bottom half to be this greenish red color. Which actually reminds me, I came across this site on Reddit yesterday, which it was called like, is your green my green? And you have to answer a bunch of questions like, is this green or is this blue or is this green or is this blue? And then it tells you where you're at in the percentile in terms of how you see green and blue versus other people. I'll have to find the link, but this is bluish green. it's somewhere on the edge. Okay, so I need a div that's going to be below that. We'll just call it like bottom. And it's going to have a background color of that light blue, but it's going to have a height of 50% and should be full width by default. So we're going to throw another div, give it a class of bottom. And I'm just going to rename this to be the sun because it looks like a sun. So give this a class of sun. Cool. And then I just want the bottom thing to be all the way on the bottom. Do a gradient for the background color. I didn't think about that. That's probably, that should work. We could do a linear gradient with hard stops, but I don't know a lot about CSS gradients. So let's look it up. Gradient maker. I want to do it myself. Linear gradient red. Yeah, see, this creates the gradient, but how do you create a hard stop? Color stops. Is that possible to do with CSS gradients? Like instead of gradual, it's just color. Oh, creating hard lines. To create a hard line, create a stripe instead of a gradual transition. Let's try it. I'm learning. Okay, so that means we're not going to have a bottom div, but we are going to have a linear gradient here that goes we want the bottom to be, the top will be the red color, and then the bottom will be this color. And to bottom left. What do I want there? I mean, if we do 100%, 100%? I'm curious why it's repeating 3 times. And what's up, Yuvraj? Yuvraj, good to see you. Okay, can I just do, okay, not, I want 2, if I remove the 2 altogether. Okay, it's happening. But now I don't understand this 50% part because it's doing it 4 times. I see what you all are saying though, because basically I could have a bunch of stops down here that create the lines below. Okay. What is this number then? The color stop at the 50% mark. It's just curious that 50 plus 50 is 100, but we have it repeated 4 times. What if I do 75? 75? Oh. Do I need to set the height? Yeah, that's why. That's why. Cool. Okay. We got there and it was really easy. You set the color and then the amount that it should exist as. And then that's a hard stop instead of being like a gradual gradient. Okay, sweet. We're going to come back to getting these lines, but I'm guessing we'll figure it out with a linear gradient. That'll be fun for me because I haven't really done that kind of thing before. But before that, let's get the sun in the right place. So for that, I'm going to set the body to be a flex box. Actually, no, I can set it to a grid and then just place content setter. So if I do display, grid, and then place content center, we get a sun in the center, and then is it 200 by 200? It is. Okay. Now I need to figure out the stops. I guess the issue with a linear gradient here is how to get it to have the yellow as well. Which is why I'm going to do it with a div on top. And then like these blue lines are just going to be all the way across, but they just intersect on top. And then we'll have like some transparent below it. Put a linear gradient on the sun. I guess that works too. You all are much smarter than me. So let's try it. The linear, yeah, so the sun should have 50% this yellow color. Cool. And then how many parts is it broken up to? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 20% each one? No, 10%. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Because then I need this to be 10%. Did I not do that right? Because I don't want it 50%. I want it smaller. Why is it so big? What am I doing wrong? Let me know in the chat, because I thought we could literally just specify the color and the amount that it should take up. But at this point, it's all just green, greenish blue. To create a hard stop, you need to go for, oh, okay. So I was thinking of it as sum total, but we need explicit values. So like this should be 60 and then 70 and then 80, something like that. Okay. But the numbers need to be same for the, yeah. And I can go from 0% to like that. Is there, do I need a 2? Because this last example is kind of helping, right? So 2 left. I see. I need 2 numbers there. So I need the start and the stop. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. And so this will be 60%, 70%. Okay. But it's not quite 10%. Is it 8%? It's 7%? 7.5? Do we need like a specific pixel amount? That's the right width there, 7.5. It's 15 pixels. Good to know. And so if 50% is, do they have to be in percentages or can they be in pixels? Like this would be 100 pixels. Yeah, okay. And then from 100 pixels to 115 pixels. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. I'm learning. I learned about linear gradients today. 115 pixels to 130. We're on our way. And then 130 to 145. Cool. And repeat. We go 145 to 155. Yeah, so there's a question from Randy, which is a great question. Would you use percentages over pixels so you can rescale easier? Yes, if like, that'd probably be the way to go if this were a responsive website where the sun would always need to stay in the center. For our specific use case, this container is never going to get any bigger. So it's okay to have specific pixel values. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The reason we use percentages is so that it can grow with its container. I'm getting lots of math. My maths are wrong. This is why we warm up, everybody. 145 plus 15 is 160. Cool. I also noticed, though, that my numbers are slightly off because we have, like, that one's good, but then the next one's not. So the next one, that yellow one, my yellow one is too big. Like we need to go to like 114. Oh, wait. I mean, we need to go to 129? $25? Yeah, it's 125. Weird. So they get the first. Oh, I see. It's hard to see, but the yellow strips are thinner than the blue strips. Yeah. Yes, people in chat are letting me know. Okay. So we've got blue strip, yellow strip, which is only 10 pixels. And then the next blue strip will be 15. 125 plus 15 is 140. And then the next yellow strip is only 10, so it goes to 150. And then we need a blue strip. Which goes from 150 to 165. Cool. And then we need a yellow. Which goes from 165 to 175. We still on our way? We are. And then we need one more blue one. Which goes from 175 to 190. Right? And then I guess I was thinking that the yellow would fall through, but it won't because we're specifying every single stop. So we need to specify the last yellow stop too, which goes from 190 to 200. Look at me. It's my first linear gradient. There's Fob's math is still on the screen. Yeah, let me open up the settings. See if I can get auto hide. Thanks, Randy. But we did it. We did it. Though it looks, is it off? Okay, no, it's good. It's perfect. Yeah, let's see it, Scott. I would love to see Scott's solution because, like I said, I mean, this is honestly the first like linear gradient I've ever written from scratch that I didn't copy paste from somewhere. So yeah, let's see how Scott did it. Okay. Yes, so this should set the background color from red to green, or pink to green, pink to blue. Right? Cool. And then we've got the sun, which is a circle and is yellow. So this F6 is the yellow color. So cool. So by default, we just got a yellow circle. And then we're using the after pseudo selector to add this part here. And so we're using repeat. Look at that. Tricky. Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Mine is very, very manual and repetitive. So what Scott is doing is we have a linear gradient from that's the 6 is the blue. So from blue to nothing. So nothing for 15. So blue for 15 pixels and then nothing for 15 pixels. Yeah, Scott's lazy. He didn't want to write it out. No, this is a great solution. It's good to not be repetitive, right? Like if you ever wanted to go in at a later time and update this, it's going to be pretty hard to figure out what all these numbers are doing. So we have ourselves a linear gradient that is I guess, what is the height of this thing? The height is 50%. So the after element is going to be half. And this is going to be a gradient that's 30 pixels high. And then we repeat. Yeah, and then this is what I have to figure out. What is this thing doing? Because background size 100% 25 pixels. I don't know what the two arguments to background size are. Let's see. Width, height. It's just width, height. Okay, easy. So width 100%, height 25 pixels. Are you telling me, Scott, that because you shrink the height down to 25 pixels, it has like the correct ratio here or something like that? Oh, okay. It's 25 pixels tall before repeating, but this is what's throwing me off. Is your transparent area needs to be 10 pixels high, but you have it as 15 pixels high. But you're telling it that it should only be 25 pixels high, which would make the transparent area 10 pixels high. So it works, but this is what was throwing me off. I was like, how? But I think if we set this to 10, it would still work too, right? That's just the stop. Okay. No, it won't. But this is why I'm confused, because if the stop is 15 pixels, then wouldn't that mean this gradient is 30 pixels tall? They're both starting from 0. So Scott is saying 0 to 15 is green, 15 to X is transparent. Oh, you don't have an, I see, that's the starting, this is why the gradients are confusing to me. That's the starting point, that is not the height. Yeah, okay, so it starts at 15 and goes to the total height of the container. Okay, that clears things up then. Because that just says start at 15 and then the total height is going to be 25, which means the transparent area is 10. Yes, magic. It's all magic. And I think Chris has an explanation too. So the blue strip is 15 pixels. The transparent continues indefinitely, but the height is 25, repeats over and over at 25 pixel intervals. Beautiful. That's a very elegant solution. Great work, Scott. But I'm happy with my first little gradient here. I'll only get better from here. Learn how to make like non-repetitive code. All right, let's submit it. Let's see what happens. Yay! Cool, we did it. All right, that was fun. We're learning about CSS today. Cool. All right, I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, but then when I come back, we are going to work on the Syntax Production Assistant, which is a desktop application built with Tauri, Svelte, and has some Rust code in there because it's built with Tauri. But Scott and I built this app during Hack Week at Century, and the whole idea is to make it much easier for Randy to publish the podcast episodes. And it has some issues. It has some work that needs to be done. So when we get back, I'm going to work on some of them are going to be pretty easy. Some of them are going to be a little bit more difficult. But one of the first things, which is a feature request from Randy, is I'd love to be able to delete a project. So that's what we're going to work on, because right now you've got all these projects and it gets pretty cluttered. So we're pretty much just going to add a little X button, or we might even, when you go into a project, maybe there's like a delete button here or something like that. Yeah. Am I referring to repeating episodes? Oh, I am, because this is debugging. So I should probably show you how this thing works. The whole idea is you create a project and then you can drop a video in, which was exported from DaVinci Resolve. So let's grab this. I think this is the one that was published yesterday. You need these 30 apps. But when Randy exports this video from DaVinci Resolve, it has all of the embedded chapters in it as metadata. And so we can use that to generate timestamps for like the YouTube description, and also generate the description on the Syntax website. And we can convert this MP4 into an MP3 file, which is what we need to upload to Libsyn, which is the file it uses to push the podcast out to all your podcast apps. So watch, you drop it in, and then behind the scenes, it's converting this file into an MP3. It's funny that that's jumping back and forth like that. But this actually reminds me of another issue that Randy opened, which is the naming convention. So right now, the MP3 file, you can see it just gets the same name as the MP4 file. But what we'll fix is we'll give it a nice standardized naming convention when we create it. But this is the first part that makes the process much easier. Is Randy drops the file in, automatically converts the MP3. He doesn't have to do it manually. And so that's step one. Step two is extracting out that metadata. So because that file has metadata inside of it, check this out. We can automatically generate the show notes, which are broken. This is another bug. Because I need to fix these timestamps. But all of this information about the various chapters was embedded inside of that video file. So we pull it out, convert it into Markdown here. And this is what Randy can use to put in the YouTube description, to put on the Syntax website, etc. But again, this is another bug. I need to fix these timestamps, which are broken for some reason. And then we give him a bunch of buttons so he can copy it to send to various places. And then the last piece is publishing. So part of adding a new episode is we manage all of this inside of GitHub. And this is actually a completely public repo. If you go to github.com/syntaxfm/website, actually, you can probably see episodes before they officially get published on YouTube or on the website, which is fine. I don't think you'll be able to access the MP4 or anything like that. But if we look at closed issues, you can see that every time Randy wants to add a new episode to the website, probably, what's the one that went out today? This one. So Randy would open up a pull request to add a markdown file with all this info. And then once that episode gets published, when you go to the Syntax website and you're looking here, that's where all of this information comes from. It comes from this markdown file. So it would be a very manual process, and it is a very manual process to make a PR and everything else. But what this tool allows you to do is, after you've set up all your notes and everything, you just click this button. It uses the GitHub API to automatically create a PR, commit the file, and then, create a branch, commit the file to that branch, and then open a PR to automatically merge it all in. Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's true. So yeah, and Scott and I we built this thing in a week. And first of all, Randy says many things. You're very welcome, Randy. It's exciting to, first of all, make your job easier, and then also get feedback from you on how we can make it even easier after that. First of all, like fixing the bugs, but I haven't added any code for this yet, but I've been looking into the Libsyn API, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be possible for me to have a one-click button that actually creates the episode on Libsyn. I'm also holding off on that because we're potentially moving podcast providers, but that will be even easier because then you don't have to worry about like copy paste issues for the HTML. You literally just click create on Libsyn and it'll do it all. But yeah. And Pranav says this looks super handy. Yeah, I think like it's gonna reduce a lot of the manual work that Randy has to do to publish. Oh, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. But yeah, Scott and I, we actually got to work together in person. We went to a co-working space and we planned it all out. We hacked on it, and we're gonna have a podcast episode where we talk about our process for building it. Yeah, and we got runner-up so every year Sentry does a hack week where everybody in the company stops working for a week and then just hacks on something that they think would be useful or interesting. And this is what Scott and I built. Wes actually built a receipt printer for Sentry issues. He published it on X if you haven't seen it, but this was his Hack Week project. Yeah, this right here. Essentially, anytime you get an issue in Sentry, it automatically prints it out to his printer. And so in an upcoming episode, which if you look at the GitHub repo, you can see all the show notes. In an upcoming episode, Wes is going to talk about how he built it and what went into it. So that's a thing as well. But yeah, I wasn't rigged. I mean, some people at Sentry built some really cool and like very useful things inside the Sentry product itself. I was surprised we even were in the runnings, but I mean, it's a cool app. It's just not Sentry related. I don't know, but yeah, people liked it. Yeah, what's up, Nico? Welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, one button to publish everywhere. What made us choose Rust? It's built on it's a desktop app. So I don't know if that was clear, but this is an app running on your desktop. It's a desktop. I don't know a better way to say it. It's a native desktop app. And the reason for that is we're using FFmpeg and FFprove for these tasks. So we use FFmpeg to extract or to convert the MP4 into an MP3. And then we use FFprove to extract the metadata. And so you need like a system process to do that. I think technically there's like FFmpeg that works inside of WASM. But regardless, we needed to be able to do native things on the file system itself. And so for that, we are using Tauri, which is a way of building desktop apps that where the UI is a web UI. So technically, this is like a web view. And we have a SvelteKit app inside of this web view, but it's just a single page application. And then Tauri is like the host and allows you to write native Rust functions that you can invoke from the JavaScript side. So that's basically what we're doing is whenever you drop the video here, we're invoking Rust code that spins up FFmpeg and FFprove. And then also, it's not in here right now, but Scott actually got uploading to YouTube working during Hack Week, but there's some issues with the API key. But there is a automatically upload to YouTube button, and that uses Rust to do the upload because it accesses the file directly from the file system and then sends it over the network. So we chose Rust because we chose Tauri. So yeah, wild. Yeah, what's up, Bruce? Good to see you. Yeah, so the first video for my next project is going to be published on Tuesday. Yeah, exactly. So it's like Electron, but much smaller and more performant because it's Rust. And so when you build an Electron app, you're shipping a Chrome browser with every single desktop app that you ship. This does not do that. This uses the system web view. This is literally a what do you call this? Safari. It's like a Safari web view that is just its own little window here and then has the ability to call out to Rust functions. But Electron is a full-on Chrome browser, and then they like embed the Node runtime, so you can have like Node code running inside of there. The thing about a Tauri app is all of your web code can only be web code. You actually don't have access to Node.js. You have to use the Rust bridge to do more native things. Yeah. Maybe it does. I know that Tauri is at least written in Rust. Yeah, so it uses the native web view. It can run cross-platform. I think there's a couple of things we're doing that are specific to a Mac, but that's one of the reasons you might choose something like Tauri is, yeah, you can build a single desktop app that can run on Linux, Mac, and Windows. And they've recently added support for mobile, for like Android and iOS. But we're building this app specifically for Mac because we know everyone on our team uses a Mac. Yeah. Mac, Windows, Linux. How much Rust do you need to know to work with Tauri? Initially, not much, but once you want to start doing more native things, you do have to learn the basics of Rust. And if you look at, let's see if I can find the section on invoking Rust code. Inter-process communication. I didn't come across these different patterns. Calling Rust from the front end. So inside of your Rust code, you add this, which is an annotation, and you say this is a Tauri command, and you give it a name, and then you can write native Rust code inside of here. And then on the JavaScript side, there's an invoke function from the Tauri SDK, where you can say invoke my custom command. So this is the Rust side, and then on the JavaScript side, you say invoke, specify the name of the command, and that'll call the Rust code. So on the surface, fairly easy. When you look at our Rust code, a lot of it is it's doing a lot because of like having to invoke system commands and stuff like that. I was banging my head against the wall during Hack Week for certain things like implementing OAuth. Because so when we added this create PR button, technically you needed GitHub OAuth. And I was trying a bunch of different things, and some of the stuff I was doing like natively in Rust, and that was really tricky. But yeah. What's up, Vicus? I am giving an overview of this app that I'm about to work on, which is a desktop app that helps the Syntax team with publishing our podcast episodes. I'm going to be working on that and fixing some bugs pretty soon. Did I take a look at Whales? I've heard of it. Some people had mentioned it to me before. It's like Tauri, but it uses Go instead. I haven't used it myself. Rust has a bunch of number types. A lot of like lower level languages do. You've got like floats and ints and like 32-bit integers and 64-bit integers and stuff like that. You can pretty much build any kind of native app with Tauri. Yeah. I don't know if there's anything you can't do. You definitely can't publish a Tauri app as a website because, I mean, you could try to, but the moment you start to do native things with the Tauri layer where you're like creating these Rust commands, that is something you couldn't ship to the web browser. Because I don't think they have like WASM compiler or anything like that. Yeah. All right, like I said, I'm going to take a 2-minute break, but then when I come back, we're going to work on this first issue, which is deleting a project, which should be easy and sounds easy. Basically, on the projects page, we want like a little X button that allows us to delete that project from the page here. Yeah. Nothing you can't do. I mean, nothing you couldn't do with a native app, I guess. All right, but yeah, I'll be back in 2 minutes. See you soon. See you soon. Yo, we're back. Cool. Let me catch up on chat. Scott is saying that he's working on a mobile app with Tauri, and it's wild. Trying to do one code base for web, Android, and iOS. That's cool to hear. I've tried to do a similar thing with Xamarin back in the day, which was a C# based platform. It's cool to know that. At least you're having an okay time with it. Yeah. Tauri is odd and amazing and awful at the same time, and I love it. Like, personally, like, I had a frustrating experience because I'm so new to Rust. And I honestly, I should take the time to learn about like memory management and borrowing and stuff like that, because I think especially because it was Hack Week, I was just trying to get stuff working. So I was just like throwing code at the Rust compiler and eventually it would work. But I should sit down and learn Rust a bit better. But if you're just joining us, we're working on this desktop app, which is built with Tauri, which is a cross-platform way to build, which is a way to build cross-platform apps. And it allows us to, the reason that we built this app was to have a more easier publishing workflow for our podcast. So the way it works is you can create a project, you then drop a video file in. This will then automatically convert that video file into an MP3. I'm not sure why it's still processing. I'm going to kill the app. I'm going to restart the app and try again. Yeah, welcome in, Nate. Good to see you. And yes, Wes's face on here. It's the first frame of the video. And Babiscuit, thanks for the follow. How much Rust do you need to know to work in Tauri? Very little at the start, especially if most of your app is just inside of the web view. But the moment you want to start doing more native things, you're going to have to learn Rust so that you can write out these Tauri commands. And like a lot of the stuff we're doing, like we had to use things from the Rust ecosystem. So is it cargo.run? Is that the site? That's probably not it. What is the crates.io? This has all like the Rust packages, and we had to install various packages for the kinds of things that we were doing inside of this app. Yeah. Yeah. Word break incoming for, yeah, we could fix that too. So you can see right now, where did it go? Yeah, this one down here has an overflow. We need to fix that. Yeah. Oh, you moved over there. Yeah. I'm not looking at Twitch as often. It's not as active. Okay, let's get into it. So the first issue is going to be a pretty easy one. Randy, who is our producer, wants to be able to delete a project, which makes sense because right now you can't. And especially you can see like when I was developing, we have all these dummy projects. So let's get that going. Let me open up VS Code. And I mentioned there's probably two ways we could go about this. Like we could have a delete button here. But right now these cards they're fully clickable. But we could also have just like a hovering X icon in the top right that when you click that, it deletes it. I think I'm going to do that. I'll at least do that. And we potentially could have put a button in the top right here when you're inside of a project to delete it as well. But initially, I'm going to add like a little X right here that you can click on. So let's get that going. I'm going to hide my screen for just a second to make sure that I'm not showing any environment variables. Okay, here we go. So the way that this is laid out is the source Tauri directory has all the Tauri stuff with the native Rust codes. So if you look in here, our lib is chock full of native stuff. So like calling ffprobe, which allows us to extract the metadata, getting the file path, doing like login with GitHub and YouTube, and that launches a new window and hiding that window. And then we have commands for like using ffprobe to get metadata and all that stuff. So all that Rust code is inside of that file. But all of our app code, which is the window, is a Svelte application. And that's inside of this source directory, and it's SvelteKit. So we just create our routes inside of here, and they show up in the app. It's SvelteKit. So the main page is going to be here in page.svelte, and this is where all those projects are listed. So here it says my projects, and then we have an each block. So you see every single project here. And this is just an anchor tag with project button, and this is the thing that I want to put the little X on. So I just want to put a little X right there. And for this, we're not going to have to do any Rust. This is just going to be purely Svelte and JavaScript codes to get that going. So I kind of want to extract this out into a component called like project button. Let's do that, because it's going to need some like a floating X that I can click on, and then like a click handler for that. So I want to extract it into a component. So I'm going to put that in lib. Do we have a place for components, or do we just put the components next to the things that we need? Let's see. We're getting some chats. Let me catch up. Just thinking out loud, would that make it easy to trigger accidentally? Yes. I'm going to add a confirmation dialog as well. A delete is destructive. It should be in the details page. Maybe you're right. The workflow that I'm thinking about right now is I have all these, and I want to easily delete every single one of them. If I have to go into every single page to delete it, that's a little bit more cumbersome. But honestly, needing to delete a bunch in bulk is probably like a one-time task, because you're going to delete them as you go. But I don't know. I'll think about it. Let's see. Confirmation modal sounds good to avoid accidental. That's the plan, is like, click it. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that could work too. This is designed by committee at this point, but I appreciate your suggestions. There could be a button up here that says like edit projects, and then when you click that, that has a button for like delete. I don't know. I'm just gonna add a floating X button, and then we'll think about it afterwards. Because I just want to get the delete functionality working, and then once we get have the functionality, we can put it anywhere. But I do want to extract it into a component. Trying to think, where did we put our other Svelte components? Do we have a components folder? I guess it would make sense to put them in lib. Yeah, I'm just going to create a components folder here inside of lib. And then I'm going to create a project button. That's Svelte. Cool. We need a script. We can set the language to TypeScript. And then right now, I'm going to pull out the codes that's inside of this anchor tag here. Basically, this is going to be the project button. Like that. And I believe the project button CSS is defined here. I'm going to pull that out into the component. You sure about that? So Scott says he has a confirm button. We'll definitely add a confirm button. Cool. Then we need some styles. If you're new to Svelte, this is one of the coolest things about it, is all the styles you defined in here for this component are automatically scoped to this specific component. Here's the issue. Are we using project button somewhere else? I think we are. New project. which is different than project button. So I need to clean this up a little bit. So I guess if we're going to be using this in multiple places, it's not going to live inside the component. I'm going to pull it into the global CSS. We have a special spot for this, like our error classes, our button classes. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this in here, and this way, this page can continue using it, and this one. Cool. I think we have this in utils. Yep. And I think we have a alias for importing, like this. Yes. And now we need to find a prop to pass the project in. How do props work? We say, oh, I forgot that I have AI on. Yeah, that's it. Except we actually have a project type that we can import from here. Yeah. So now you can pass a project down to this component. It'll render it out. Cool. And so now I'm going to render out this project button component right here. Project. And then pass in the project. Like that. And then we don't need to import that anymore. And if I've done it all right, it'll just look exactly the same. All we did is we extracted the code for each one of these buttons into its own file, so that way we can add more functionality there. So yeah, looks good. Now, let's go into that component and work on a little close button. Trying to think. Let's add some styles. I want to set this project button to have a position of relative, and then I'm going to put a close button inside of it that I can position absolutely into the top right corner. Oh, we're using Svelte 5, so there's a new way to do it. Do we have any components that have props in it? I'm just going to pull up the Svelte 5 docs. Runes? Props. Oh, that's easy. Cool. So you just say let project equal $props, like that. But you destructure it. And how do we type it? Like this. We can say that. Okay. Is this native CSS nesting or Sass? Native. It's absolutely native. We don't have any CSS processing as far as I know. We're just using the platform. Okay. Now, let's add a close button. Add a button. Or we're going to add a delete button. Let's add that. See what we get. Okay, by default, it's down there. But I'm going to call this the delete button. And let's position it. So we'll say position absolute. Top 0, right 0. So it should be like that. We could even do like this. I guess I could do a percentage. So minus 10%. Yeah, like that. And then instead of delete, do we have, I think we pulled in an icon, we pulled in icons, didn't we? Svelte mentioned. Let's see. Where is this used? Nowhere. Could add an icon library, but let's just get it working. I'm going to add an emoji, the emoji X button like that. Nice, nice. Can I also remove the padding? Nice. And then we can move it in a little bit. Beautiful. Actually move it up a little bit. Yeah, I like that. But it will be hidden by default. So by default, display none. And then when you're hovering on the project button, display. Yeah, so project button, hover, delete button. Yes. Let's put these styles in here. Display block. Okay. So now you hover, and then yeah, this is the issue though. So if you don't get your mouse exactly on there, you might miss it. Cool. So regardless, let's just get it working. I'm going to add a click handler. Seems good, but we're going to write our own. And mouse event, because I want to prevent the default action, because when you click it, I don't want to go into the project. So let's have an on click, which takes in an event, which is a mouse event. And then we'll do something like this. We'll have to bring that codes in. But for now, I want to prevent the default action. Or I want to stop propagation. Basically, I want to be able to click the button without clicking into the project. On click. Yeah, so now I can click this and then do something in response. But if I click this, it goes into the project, which is good. Needs the West Boss X. Which one is that? Is there like an emote for it? I mean, honestly, that could work. This one? Is it that? Oh, it's this one, isn't it? Oh, that's like an exponent. Yeah. I'm gonna go with that one, and then keep the padding. Yeah. Cool. Add a delay. If that's the case, we won't do display none. We'll do opacity 0. And then when we're hovering, set the opacity to 1. And we'll set a transition duration of half a second. Yeah, like that. Let me copy the X that Scott is talking about. So this is the West Boss X. I guess, does he use it in a lot of his stuffs, like his course materials and stuff. Cool. Opacity none still allows clicking it. Yes. Let's see if we can. Well, it's part of the parent, so it should anyways. Pointer events none when hidden. Okay, I like that. So by default, pointer events none. And then when it's visible, pointer events all. I like it. Okay. Now we need to actually delete the project. And this is what AI recommended. Is this a thing? Is there a delete project function? If not, we might need to add it. So this is in state project. And let's see. We've got save, load, export. We don't. We'll add a delete button. Cool. Let's just do it as the last function here. Okay. There is a built-in delete function. What does our sync function do? Yeah, so delete it, sync it. And then we need to overwrite our list of projects, which is this. Sync. Oh, that's what that function does. Cool, that should be it. So delete it from the database. We're using a thing called Dexy, which stores it all in IndexedDB. So that'll delete it from there. And then when we call sync, that'll make sure that the state inside of Svelte doesn't have that project anymore. And we should be good. So I need to just make sure that this function is exported. Now we can call it. We can pass in the ID. Simple as. Done. Honestly, this is probably fine. It doesn't look amazing, but let's spend 5 minutes trying to make it look as good as possible. But basically, if you missed it earlier, you can drop a video in. Behind the scenes, it starts converting it into an MP3. Yeah, Randy with the claps. Thank you, Randy. I think it looks fine for an internal tool. This is my reasoning for everything, but I should probably make it look decent. Okay. For some reason, it looks like the MP3 conversion is hanging. Why is that? MP3 created successfully. But it doesn't show the path. Huh. Oh, no CSS frameworks. Yeah, everything is a raw CSS in this app. Oh yeah, we need a confirmation dialog. Okay, let's add that. Okay, Scott mentioned earlier that he uses a library or he wrote a library for this. Let's see. You sure about that? Oh, you just have a component. Are you sure? Not a dialogue, just a button. I'll have to. Yeah, I guess I could set up a dialogue. I have not. I've not used the dialogue API before. Maybe that could be fun. Actually, what are your demos, Scott? Tolen.ski? Pretty sure Scott has a dialogue demo. Yeah. Like this. Though escape isn't working. Do we want a modal? Yeah, I think we want a modal. Let's do it. If I put the modal inside of this component, is that valid? Let's see. And so I give this button an ID. Do I need the ID? Oh, we're just using the IDs to query them. All right, I can do this the Svelte way then. So these don't need IDs. I can just say bind or like dialogue. Yes, like that. And then we'll create a variable for the dialogue, which is an HTML dialogue element. Beautiful. And then inside of here, we should be able to say dialogue.showModal. It could be undefined. So we'll need to check for that. And then we're not going to delete the project immediately. Are you sure? And then 2 little buttons. Yes. Cancel. I like the confirmation button on the right. Let's see if this works. Are you sure? That's cool. It doesn't look. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. All right, we want to put those buttons side by side. Let's put them in a div and flex them. Then give it a gap. Cool. We can add more info in here, though. We can say, are you sure you want to delete, and then put the project name right here. We can say project dot name. This cannot be undone. Let's put it on a new line. And then we'll add some spacing around the buttons. Just give this a margin dot do rem. And we'll flex end. So flex justify content, flex end. So the buttons will be on the right. Cool, and then let's make these buttons do the thing. So when they click cancel, we want to say dialog.hide. And let's rename this function to delete click. Actually, we're not even going to put it in a function. We're going to put it in line, so I don't have to name it. And then if you click the yes button, we will delete it. Cool, and if you click cancel, we just close the dialog. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, I got to remove the handler here. Cancel. Cool. I guess there might be some kind of like click outside of too, but yes, sweet. Now let's just create a bunch of dummy projects. Delete. Yes. Actually, I get what's cool is about modal is it's accessible too. Look at this. I guess my button isn't exactly the X button isn't exactly accessible, but we automatically because it's in the top layer, we can automatically tab between these and then use the keyboard. Cool. I guess lastly, I want these buttons to be distinguishable. I'm curious what styles we're using for the buttons at the top of the page, because I kind of want my cancel button to look like that. Ghost. Control click skips the modal. Let's see. No, you can't click outside of it. That's the other thing is it adds this top layer, so you lose interaction with everything behind it automatically, which is pretty slick. Can I give this a class? Ghost. Escape should close it. It does, yeah. Escape will close it automatically as well. And then I'm just going to make this cannot be undone italic. So dialog small text style font style italic. What's up, Paolo? It says, make the dialogue shake like the iPhone app when they're about to be deleted. So like as the closer you get to the yes button, it just starts shaking more and more and more. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's fun though. Welcome in, Paolo. Good to see you. Behavior of click outside depends on if you show it via show or show modal. Ah, good to know. I think I'm literally calling show modal. Yeah, we're calling show modal, which allows for click outside, I guess. Well, I guess if I just do show, then we can click outside. No, we can't click outside of it. I'm going to go with show modal. This looks good to me. Cool. Do we call it there? I think we probably will just style the dialogue slightly more, like maybe give it some border radius, because right now it has like a default outline. Let's style the dialogue border radius I'll have to look and see what the border radius of the other things are. Blur the rest of the app. That could be cool. Ooh, that's a nice, I like that. That's good. It's nice. And then we can use backdrop. Do you have that on your demo site? The backdrop pseudo element creates a backdrop that covers the entire viewport. Oh. Fascinating. What's the syntax for this? Do I use ampersand? Yes. Yes, I do. Okay, so I could create a transparent div with like a filter blur or something like that. So if I do background transparent and then filter blur 3 pixels, let's see. Didn't work. How are we going to do that? I guess I could set it like a dark color with some opacity. I think if I wanted to blur the background, I'd have to target the parent, like the parent body div or something like that. Do they do any blurring here? No. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to set this to RGBA of 0, 0, 0, 0.2. Darker. Darker. Cool. Is this how a blur works? Backdrop filter? Do I need a color too? Huh. Am I doing this right? Multiple people suggested a backdrop filter. I'll have to look this up. Oh, it's not supported in Safari. Or what is the Safari support? Partial? Implemented with vendor prefix WebKit. Hey, okay. Cool. I like that. That's cool. That's cool. Sweet. Yeah, Chris says, I swear Safari is the new IE. Yeah, I mean, Firefox kind of is too, but you know, competition is good. I'm glad that there are multiple browsers, and they're all of them kind of seem dedicated to keeping up with all the new standards and everything. I don't know. Allow discrete. Not familiar with that. Makes it very clear that the rest of the page is unusable. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, you got to take care of this before, because otherwise it's like, you might not see the modal, but now it's like, oh yeah, this is the only thing that's in focus right now. Pretty slick. All right, I'm gonna call it there. I mentioned that like I would add like a delete button in here. I don't think I need to. I think this is perfectly fine. Actually, we can ask Randy as our main user. Randy, how do you feel about this workflow? Like you click delete, you say, yeah, you can even, after you click delete, you can even press tab if you want to use your keyboard. So you can do like that, yes, done. Safari and Firefox are competing to be the new I don't know, they each have their own issues. Love not having to go into the project to delete. Okay, I'm going to call it there then. I'm going to go ahead and commit this and work on something else. Let's make sure that's all the stuff that I changed. All right, we added the project button. We added the delete function to the project state. We refactored this to pull project button into its own component. We added those styles there. Yeah, this looks good to me. Feature, add delete button. What's up, Pranjal? Yeah, I don't use the chat window for the syntax streams just because I'm trying to keep the focus on the code instead of always having chat open. Yeah. Oh, add the standard one? Yeah, the thing is, you're probably right. If it runs on other platforms, we'll need that. But right now, it only runs on Mac, which uses Safari. But you make a good point. Let me do that really quick. Yeah, you're completely right. In that, eventually, once the prefix gets removed, we're gonna need it. Yeah, good call. Cool. I'm gonna add or create a pull request. Sweet. We'll get Scott to review it. And Scott, if you're still listening, feel free to update my styles if anything does not look up to par. Yeah, it's private right now. We'll open source it eventually. I just want to make sure that all of our keys are hidden and everything is nice and buttoned up. But I'm pretty sure we're going to allow this to be completely open source at some point. Sweet. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have done says fixes number 29, because what you can do in a PR, I'll just update the title here. Yeah. Fixes number 29. And so when you do this, it automatically links back to, or it should link back to this issue. So if you look at number 29, maybe because it didn't get created with the title, I'm just going to add it in the description. Now it should be backlinked. Yes, like that. Sweet. Sweet. Yeah, so yes, there's an AI feature in here that I didn't demonstrate, but that uses the Anthropic API, I think. And at one point that got committed. We scrubbed it, but we just want to make sure. we don't want to leave, because that would be really bad if some of those keys got out. Comment? I did comment. Is that what you meant? That I need to add a comment instead? Okay. Next up, which I think is a more pressing matter, is we need to fix the timestamps. Our timestamp parsing is worked. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So you create a project, you drop a video file. Let's go back to this one. It will start turning it into an MP3. It extracted out the metadata, and then we can see that metadata over here. Yeah, this one, the timestamps seem to work just fine. I don't know what's different, but let's try a different project. I need to wait for it to finish converting. But yeah, this other one, I know this one, timestamps are not correct. So let's see why. Because if we look here, yeah, it goes into like 96, 126. It's possible because we're not converting hours, but let's look at what the timestamps should be, because this is an episode that got published today. But we're specifically working on incorrect timestamps now. So we can see today's episode. Like, is it even partially correct? No. It's like off by, it immediately goes to 1305 instead of 103. Okay, that's bad. That's bad. So to debug this, I'm just going to log out the chapters that are extracted. I guess technically I could just run ffprobe directly to see what the data. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to run ffprobe on this file and see what the output is, because it might not be what we expect. I might also be looking at like the wrong property. And this is number 817. So Hiron is asking, not using. I don't use Tmux. I just open new tabs in my terminal. I'm not much of a terminal person. Like, I don't use Vim or anything like that. Okay. I'm curious, if we look at these starting timestamps that got exported, are they right? So, like this one, 785412. Do we have like a different time base or something like that? We might actually want to use the start time property and then just convert that string into an integer. I think we need to use the start time property. I think that's the issue. What's the point of Tmax? Just to have, it's basically like a grid of terminals. You can have like 4 different ones. Some people like to do like top left corner is your front end build process. Top right corner is your backend logs. You have another one for your Docker container, and then maybe another one for where you're running commands. I think it's mainly just like multiple terminals all in one view. Why not use terminal split? I guess Tmux works even on remote machines. I guess that's the other thing, is if you're like a sysadmin, or these days like you work in DevOps, when you remote into a machine, it might not. I guess if you're using iTerm locally, you could do something like that. but it works really well for like remote machines as well. I don't know. I'm not gonna go to bat for it because I don't use it. I just think that's why people would use it. Okay, this is my fix. I think we're gonna use the start time property and then just parse it as a number because that gives us total number of seconds. So let's do that. We have ourselves some utils for where are we doing this? Specifically project notes. Let's see. I think this happens in the top level project. So whenever you import something, yeah, we get metadata. Result is of type unknown. Yeah, I'll update this type while I'm in here. But essentially, this is the JavaScript code that runs that actually invokes Rust code. So we have a Rust command called get metadata, and this is what invokes it. Passes in the path. Under the hood, it runs ffprobe. So if we look at the Rust side here for get metadata, it runs this specific function. And looks like it returns an object with two properties, standard out and standard error, which I think are both strings. So we can update our TypeScript type to match that. Yeah, just like that. Okay. If it was successful, we grab the chapters. And now I'm doing convert seconds, but I'm doing chapter.start. But instead, I think I want to do chapter.start time, which is a string, which I'll convert to a number. And it already is in seconds, so I don't have to divide by 1,000. That should do it. But our convert seconds doesn't handle hours, so I'm going to add hour handling if this works. But I think that should be the fix. Basically, I think I was using this property, and for whatever reason, that property is off. But start time seems to be the way to go. So let's try it. I don't know. So Scott, if you're still listening, would you be opposed to, and also Randy, because I guess you use this tool, would you be opposed to having a convert MP3 button instead of converting automatically? Because it's really hurting my testing. Because every time I need to go do a new thing, I have to wait for the MP3 conversion to be done. Maybe that could even be like a user setting, is like automatically convert MP3. I don't know. Let's give it a try though. Do this, and then it's still off. Ideal to have it. Yeah, I'll leave it automatic then. That didn't work. I'm gonna reload the app. I'm also gonna log out. Let's log out the chapters that we get back, because I thought chapter start would do it. Let's see. we look in here, we've got chapters. Each one has a start time, which is a string. But like this one, brought to you by Sentry, is 63.9 seconds. I guess we probably need to round up or round down. Yeah, we need to round up to a whole number, I think. But regardless, that means that brought to you by Sentry. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, I just had to restart the app because this seems to work. Those are the right timestamps. And I don't have to drop the decimal. It seems to do just fine. Let's compare these with the actual. Uh, 103, 127, 143, 419. I mean, these look good to me. Um, 3709 ends at 5025. Yeah, look good. I think the only thing is I want to be able to handle hours now. And I think I have some code to do that already. I have a PR on the Syntax website that converts YouTube timestamps, and it has some codes that I think does what I want it to do, or not. Oh no, this is converting like a timestamp string. I think I did a code challenge last time we were live, where I had to do this. I might have to go look at that code. But essentially, we need to add hours here. We have seconds, minutes, and then hours. Which is total seconds divided by, or just mod 3600. That'll give us total hours. Is that all I have to do? That might be it. Was it that easy? I don't know why I put it off. Why I didn't do it last time. Let's grab the very last timestamp, because it should be 0 hours. If we take start time as this, mod 360 is 0. Mod 30 or 3060. Or 3600. What? Divided by. Not mod divided by. That'll give us hours. Yeah. And yeah, I'm missing some of the Twitch stuff that's happening, but thank you for that follow, and hello everybody over on Twitch. Yeah, thank you to Tuki Tuki and Kapior, and hello Yunpacha, good to see you, and Jakochi, thank you for that follow as well. Yeah, I think that's all we need. But one thing I'll do is instead of formatting each of these like that, we will do this. Have an idea. Don't call format there. Do this. We're always going to have seconds and minutes. So call this the parts, and it's always going to be minutes, seconds. But if hours is greater than 0, we want hours as well. So this. So if hours is greater than 0, put it at the beginning of the array. And then the result is just to take each of those things, format them with format number, and then join them all together with a colon, like that. Yeah, Copilot is figuring it out. Well, actually, this isn't Copilot. This is Codium. Yeah. Don't give the credit to the wrong people, because Codium is pretty slick. Codium has worked a lot better in my use cases. Codium, and they've been on Syntax before. Definitely check them out. They have a free tier. I'm actually on the tier that uses GPT-4. Yeah, I'm on this one, but it's worth it. Okay. Sweet. This should do it. So we're always going to have minutes and seconds. If there are hours, they will be there, and join them all together. And just immediately return this. Don't even need to do that. Would just parts.join... Oh, it would, but check it out. Format number adds a leading 0. So if seconds are just like 6 seconds, we want it to be 06. So that's why I pass it into format number. It just does pad start, because otherwise you would see like 1:6 instead of 1:06. Yeah, that's the main reason. Oh yeah, they're super awesome. I interviewed them for one of the short videos about like pronunciation. I interviewed the main dude. Kevin, is that his name? I think so. I mean, I can look on the Syntax website, and I should. But also, like Scott is saying, they gave his kid Legos, which is awesome. I think there's a photo on Twitter of when that happened. Yeah, Kevin. But if you search on syntax.fm, you can see the episode that he was on. Yeah, Kevin Howe was on episode 728. This episode was super interesting just because Kevin's super knowledgeable about like large language models and solving this problem of like AI coding. And Wes and Scott asked some really good questions that just kind of got into like, how does all this stuff work? So yeah, it's a pretty sweet episode. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Hey, Alka, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Alka's a longtime friend of the Coding Garden streams. Yeah, welcome in. Okay, I think that did it. It was literally like a one-line change to add hours, and then also we realized when we're parsing, we should use a different property. Let me just double check that other types of files work too, because yeah, this fixed the timestamp problem just fine. Let's try importing episode 805. And that one still works just fine. Cool. And I'm going to try the episode that Randy was having an issue with. Let me actually download that really quick. Is Alka a bot on YouTube? I don't think so. Alka is real over on the YouTube. So there he is. Look at him. He's real. But you may, if you're familiar with Twitch, Alka, you might see Alka pop up in other Twitch channels because his username actually is AlkaBot in other channels. So that's a thing. What happens if it's, yeah, so the maths automatically roll over. Yes. Yes, we should. Do we have any episodes that are over an hour long? But this is the code that I just worked on, Randy. It should handle hours now, but I didn't have anything to test with. What's up, Steven? Says, longtime Coding Garden fan, loving to be able to watch on Syntax. Nice, glad to have you here. But yeah, let me know, Randy. Are there any episodes that are over an hour that I can test with? I'm about to test the one that you had issues with, and that we should know for sure. But that one is only like 20 or 30 minutes long, I think. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. All right. So actually, you're going to get a little sneak peek of an unreleased episode. I mean, I'm not going to play it for you, but you'll at least be able to see the first frame, episode 822. So this is the episode where Wes is going over his Hack Week project. Boom. There it is. Sneak peek. And yeah, I think this is good. The timestamps look much better. I can confirm, and honestly, it's not that much of a sneak peek because you can look on the Syntax website and see the show notes that got pull requested for episode 822. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 38 seconds. 110, 141. Beautiful. Our timestamps are working again. That's great. Sweet. Oh, negative time? Yeah, there shouldn't be any videos with negative time, right? It's funny, Wes always looks so serious, like in these opening. That one looks pretty good. 817. Yeah, there's Wes, funny face, Wes and Scott. Yeah, thank you for those follows over on Twitch, Loco Loki and Glorant. Good to see you. Welcome in. A negative episode is just saying we'll give you an hour back. Yeah, it's time travel. 812 has hours. Sweet. Thank you, Randy. Let me download that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to take a second to download. But we're making progress. We solved 2 issues today. That's good. It's very good. It's almost done. All right, episode 812. Here. Dang. No. The uploaded video doesn't have metadata. Sorry. I think this is the one that we had someone do externally. So it doesn't have the metadata embedded in it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of a native app. This is what Randy was saying the other day. It was like, it's so fast. It was like, that's the beauty of it. It's all running natively. So it runs as fast as any other app that needs to access something on your file system. But yeah, the issue is specifically if the file was not exported with that chapter metadata, it is not. Yeah, it's not going to give us that. I'm gonna assume my codes is right. Yeah, is there another West face? I'm gonna assume my codes are good. But there's not a lot of episodes that go over an hour, so hopefully we won't run into any issues there. But let me create a PR for this and work on the next one. Yeah, we got about 30 or so minutes left. I think I can do one more. This is fix number 28. Parse timestamps. better. Can I fake the length of an episode just to test it? It has to do with the embedded markers. I guess if I have, I would need an exported video file that specifically has a marker that's over an hour inside of it. Yeah, famous last words. I mean, if it breaks, Randy can just open an issue and then I'll fix it, right? Okay. Should be good. Episode 803 is over an hour. Might as well try it. But I'm going to go ahead and open this PR. Ah, I left a console log. Dang it. Let me look at episode. I might make it a part of this commit. What did you say? Episode 803? Let's see. Yeah, it needs a timestamp specifically that is over an hour. The Zenova. I don't have Slack open. Sorry, Randy. Or I do. It's just silent. Thank you. All right. One last try. I'll remove my console log and test with timestamps over an hour. Okay. I kind of want. How many console logs do we have across this app? 1, 2, 3, 4. I was about to say I was going to add a warning in the ESLint, but there's too many. I think we're gonna allow them. That console log is too embarrassing. It's on a commit that can be squashed, so it is possible to remove it from the history. Yeah. Never gonna live that down. We should submit a console log left in the repo to the Spooky Podcast. Yeah. So if you're not familiar with syntax, every year around Halloween, Scott and Wes do a spooky stories episode where people submit stories about writing code and writing software that are slightly spooky. And I think they're going to be recording pretty soon, so we can have some clips to post on socials and stuff. Yeah. Console log. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Cassandra? And that's my plan: is squash the commit. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. And we had some people hanging out over on the Twitch side. I appreciate you. Yeah, welcome in. Yeah, I think Glurant, thank you for that follow earlier. Well, I think we why is this taking so long? Oh, it's 7 gigabytes. This one will be done in about a minute. Episode 740 should have timestamps that are over an hour. Yeah, several. This will be a good test. Paolo says there's video proof. Listen, that's why we have Git. Okay, let's get rid of that. And I was about to say we could use our new delete feature, but it's on a separate branch. Oh, are you talking about Clash of Code, that random dude? You have a problem, make the test pass. Yeah, so Clash of Code is a what is it? Code Wars? Not Code Wars. Why can't I think of it? Coding Game is what it's called. Yeah, Coding Game has a bunch of like competitive programming challenges, but specifically Clash of Code puts up to 100 people all in the same room, and the timer starts, and you have to solve the problem as fast as possible. And there's like a leaderboard. Yeah, that's it. Clash of Code Coding Game. If I get one more issue done, we could do a couple of these. These are pretty fun. They get really hard though when you have a lot of people that have solved a lot of them before, because it doesn't, anybody that's in the room, it doesn't give you a problem that they've seen before. So if you have a lot of people that have solved problems, the only ones left are like the harder ones. Yeah, okay. File downloaded. Let's give it a try. We want to take bets on if it's going to work or not. Let me show the code for parsing the hour timestamp. This is it. Total seconds divided by 3600. Drop the decimal. That's the number of hours of this given timestamp. I mean, you can just gamble at home. You can just yes or no. Is it going to work? And what's up, AV Roomy? Good to see you. All right, all in on it working. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, and thank you, William. If you like this shirt, you should definitely check out Sentry.shop. I believe we still have some of these sick pick shirts in stock. So yeah, this is episode 740. Moment of truth. This is a 7 gigabyte file, so I don't think we've tested with files this big. It has frozen. Did it crash? I mean, maybe. That's not my fault. That's just I didn't do it. I want my money back. The large file size crashed it. I didn't crash it. Let's just kill the app and try again. Okay, it at least imported it. And it got the timestamps. I think the MP3 conversion is probably too much for it, because I believe that like halts the main thread when it's happening. But would you look at that? It's wrong. I think it didn't. We have to subtract. We have to subtract from the number of minutes. Yeah. This is the issue that I believe Randy brought this up. We need to mod. Okay, Alka's here. We can just have Alka solve it, because I'm not feeling the maths today. But the hours are right. I think the seconds are right, but the total number of minutes needs to be adjusted. Because. So we need to. If we get divided by 60 mod 60, is it simple as that? This is coming from Alka. I'm going to trust him. It's as simple as that. No unit tests? Listen. Yeah, the other way to go about it would be like subtract the number of hours times 60 from that. I think this is the solution though. Let's try one more. I'm just going to restart the app to be sure. way. It didn't freeze that time. Maybe it was just a dev issue of like why it froze before. In Alka we trust. And Dominic says, in Alka I trust. Yeah, that seemed to work. That did it. Mod 60. I guess here's the thing. These timestamps at the top, they don't need to have hours on them, do they? If the rest don't. Let me actually look at this episode on YouTube.
Welcome
to Syntax. Episode 740. Only need the hour when it's present. This is what Randy is saying. Let's just let's see what we did here. Yeah. Sweet. Good to know. Thank you, Randy. And it looks like our timestamps are correct now too. Right. 106, 109, 117. Beautiful. Love to see it. Cool. Yeah, and I don't want to add it for minutes and seconds because it would be a whole issue at that point. Because basically, I would first need to know what is the biggest timestamp. Does that have hours in it? And if it does, every timestamp before it should show hours all the time. I'm not going to do that. This should be fine because then if it has hours, it'll show it. So yeah. Okay, let me commit this, push it up, and then the last thing I'll work on is the file naming for MP3s. Cool. Let me open this PR. Oh, it's not a huge calculation. I would just have to get total seconds and pass that into the function. It's doable. It's definitely doable, but it would just be a lot of extra work because it would be, I have to change that function to take in total seconds. I need to be able to grab total seconds from the metadata to pass it in. I think it's fine without it. Yeah, this is fix number 28. Fixes timestamps and now parses hours as well. Great. Sweet. Last one for today is the naming convention, which should be super simple. Basically, every episode has a specific naming convention for the MP3 file. And right now, it's just like adding a timestamp onto the video file name. So this should be easy. Cool. All right, let's look at the codes. I do believe this is going to happen in Rustland. Specifically for converting, yeah, so this is the create MP3 function here in Rust. And then we have stream ID and then timestamp. Stream ID What is stream ID? This grabs the input path. Yeah, it is super interesting, Steven. Like I did it probably like a little over a year ago. But I used to use Visual Studio, like when I used to program in .NET and C# on Windows, and it puts it on the right by default, at least if I remember correctly. But it is interesting to see everyone shifting it over to the right now. Scott says I won't give in to the right sidebar. It's so good. Like, I mean, you know the reasons why I do it, but if whenever you open the sidebar, if it's on the left, your code will shift. But if it's on the right, it's just on top of your codes. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about it. I just liked the minimal setup, but in a way it's kind of like using something like Vim because you have a very like stripped down editor experience. Yeah, Pranav has been doing it for 5 years. You do find on the right? Oh, you can have like one specific thing on the right? Huh. Okay, let's get this code working. This looks to be some Rust-isms here. So grab the full input path, and then file stem is like a built-in function, which basically takes the full path and pulls the file name off of it. That seems really cool, and it's nice that it's built in. Let's see. Let's look up what this function does. File stem. Extracts the stem non-extension portion of the file name. Beautiful. I've always wanted something like that. Usually I like split on slashes, remove the file extension by looking at the period. That's cool. Okay. Now we don't need the timestamp anymore because we specifically want to use this format. Let me grab the example format. Yeah, this example format. So what we want is syntax underscore episode number dash, or no. Yeah, I can see the. Let me look in Drive so I have the right exact thing. One moment, just a moment. Oh, syntax underscore dash underscore episode number. Okay, that should be easy. Yeah, and then we need to figure out what is the episode number, or give it a timestamp if we don't know what that is. So we're going to do some parsing here on the stream ID to extract out the number at the beginning of the file if it exists. So let's learn how to do regular expressions in Rust. But how? Okay. Create a regular expression. Say captures with an else statement. What is sum? This is why I need to learn Rust. This is some tricky stuff. Oh, and then it named the capture. All right. Let's give it a go. Why do we have that dash? Wes Boss made him do it. I think mainly, personally, I don't like any spaces in file names, so using underscores instead of spaces. Surprised he didn't put an X in the path. Yeah. Okay. Let's Let's have our go at a regular expression, because basically what I want to do is I want a regular expression that extracts off this number at the beginning, because ideally Randy will already name the file in the correct way. So when he drops it in, it already has the episode number. And so I just need to extract that here. Let's try. So my regular expression is going to be, give me, we're going to call this number. And I want from the start of the file, wait, what? I want one or more digits. So I can do /D like that. And then what is this exclamation mark? Maybe. Let's try it. So we're going to try to capture the stream ID here. And we're going to let the episode number be the timestamp by default. Call it episode ID. Oh, but then that returns, I don't want an else. I want specifically if it does match. Rust is weird. Yeah, and I don't want to return. I just, if it matches, use it. Oh, is match. Well, no, I want to extract it though. Hmm. Here's the thing. Do I need this regex crate? Do they not have built-in regular expressions? No, this is the same one. Oh. I guess first of all, let's just add our using statement. Oh, we're already using regex. Okay. Wait, are you using regex somewhere else? Let me see Scott's example. So capture. So you don't do the else. Just say if let. Hmm. Oh, it's ID. Can I do this? Am I allowed to overwrite like this? You know what? I think I disabled. Did I disable the? I disabled the Rust plugin. Oh yeah. See you later. That random dude. Hope Rust starts working for you. No, it will. I'll get it working. But yeah. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. We'll see you. Yeah. And I think they did ask about how I got into programming. You can watch this in the VOD. But they said, don't know if you said before how you got into programming. Scott, if you want, then you can answer too. I'm genuinely curious on how people learn to code from YouTube like me. So I built my first website when I was like 12 years old. It was a Calvin and Hobbes fan site. I mainly used like front page for like drag drop editing. And then pretty soon after that, I got into ActionScript and Flash and also wrote a little bit of PHP. And then I got a computer science degree. So I've been programming like most of my life. And Scott says, I learned pre-YouTube with books from the library. Then I got a job at an agency and learned mostly from my boss and mentor there. After that, 100% YouTube. Yeah. I mean, even getting a computer science degree, I still used a lot of online resources. Like, yeah, I had to do a lot of I think most people that get a CS degree might even agree with this, that like, yes, they teach you things, but it's really, they're kind of just guiding you. You still have to teach yourself a lot of stuff. Yeah, Scott is saying my first was Angel Fire. I used it was either Tripod or Lycos. I would like bounce between them. And I think I had a site on Angel Fire too. I had a PlayStation cheat codes site that I made on Angel Fire. I pretty much just copy pasted the cheat codes from other cheat code websites, but it was for the game, specifically for the games that I liked. But yeah, exactly. GeoCities. Remember chatting with CJ back when I got my first React job like 5 years ago. Wow. Wait, so you have a degree in physical chemistry, but now you're a React developer? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, and you had to learn Ember at one point? Fascinating. I know I missed a lot of chats, but I'm just so focused on getting this Rust code working. So let me do that. Degree is just a paper. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, the degree does help get the job because companies can see that and be like, at least they were capable enough to get a degree. Maybe I can trust them to work at my company. Whereas without a degree, it's a lot harder. You have to convince them that you have to have a portfolio of work and basically convince them that you are a decent developer. Pala says, I was into RPG games played by chat. A friend asked me if I wanted to help him make one, and I knew a bit of HTML, CSS. I thought that was all that mattered, so I said yes, and it wasn't, so I learned PHP. Nice. You had to learn like some backend stuffs. All right, let's see if we can get this working. I think I need to install the Rust or enable the Rust extensions because I'm not getting any help right now. Rust extension pack. Yeah, we got to enable this. Let's see some compile. I'm curious if this is gonna break the way that I expect it to. And I'm gonna kill this dev process if it hasn't yet. All right, let's fix the Rust errors. Here, expected stir. Oh, never mind. I think I can do to stir. Like that. Okay. you will find that it takes a long time for this to, I don't know if I have to do anything specific, but the Rust dev tools in VS Code are super slow for me. Because this is an answer, but I still see this error. So I'm going to reload the window. Consider borrowing here. We have to learn about borrowing. Is there like a dot borrow? I need a ampersand to borrow it. This has to do with the memory safety, right? So like I define this variable here, but then because I'm passing it into the function, I need to tell it that it can borrow the reference so that when it returns, we know that the reference is here again. And then after that, it's no longer used, and then it can be, the memory can be freed. If it weren't for Claude, my Rust would never run. Can I borrow? Wait, Alka, do you know Rust? Are you familiar with Rust? I don't want to have to go look up a tutorial on. I have no idea. So here's the quick fix. Are you ready for this? When we call create MP3, I pass in the episode number from the JavaScript side. And then I just use JavaScript to extract the episode number. That might be how I do it. I probably could figure it out. I just, I've been coding for almost 3 hours at this point. I gotta. Tooster? What's the difference between Aster and Tooster? Also, why is this complaining now? Temporary valued borrow. Does this have a str? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. But now consider borrowing here. How do I borrow in Rust? Paolo says add a $sign. Rust, borrow. References and borrowing. Oh, did I do string from? No, I add an ampersand. But I think the thing is, when I add an ampersand here, it starts complaining about this up here. Give it a second. Okay, it's happy about this, but now consider using a let binding to create a longer lived value. Can I do that? And then right here, can I do that? Yes, I can. Sweet. Okay, getting closer. Take this. All right. I need to make this mutable. Mute. let mute. This might work. At this point, I got the codes. Now it's just a matter of if my regular expression works. So by default, episode ID is just going to be a timestamp. Then I am going to pass the file path into this regular expression to attempt to extract the episode number. I don't think I need that. The episode number at the beginning of the file name. What does the exclamation mark do? I don't think I need that. Just at the beginning of the file name, grab all the digits that you can. And then if it exists, so if the digits were in the file name, overwrite episode ID with that specific file name. Yeah. Cool. Let's just see if it grabs the right file name. I don't want to do the full conversion. So I'm just going to do this. All right. Moment of truth. What's up, PJ? Yeah. So I was at Luricon last week. Was it last week? I guess it was. Feels like months ago. But yeah, I met PJ Keller. He came up to me. He was like, if I told you the name PJ Keller, would you recognize it? But yeah, PJ Keller used to hang out in the Coding Garden chat all the time. And I met them in person, so that was pretty slick. I met quite a few people at Luricon that knew about Coding Garden, which was cool as well. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. Okay, moment of truth. Basically, we're going to look at the logs here. And when we drop a file, see if we extracted the number at the beginning of the file name. So like if I drop, let's get a smaller one. If I drop this, we should see 822. We don't. So right now it is a timestamp, which means my regular expression is bad. My regular expression did not grab the number here. Okay. Is there like a Rust regular expression checker? Blinded. A Rust regular expression editor and tester. Okay, so let's grab our regular expression. And our subject is this. All right. Do I need that exclamation mark? Do I need that question mark? Do I need begins with? Yeah. I mean, could it be as simple as that? Just like, I guess what if I only want the first one? But this grabs 0 or more digits. Can I label it? I guess that's what I'm getting hung up on, is how do I label the capture? Because they use labeling here to be able to extract it out. Where did they have that? Like this. Let's just test this one. Oh, I see. That exclamation mark is literally what they're looking for. Okay. Cool. starts with, yeah, okay. This is the regular expression that I need. How close was I? I need the question mark in front. All right, let's see. Isn't regex kind of standard? There might be slight differences in the engines. Well, I think the main thing is the fact that they have like named capture groups. I've never actually seen that in regular expressions before. Like I'm naming this section between parentheses ID, and then I'm able to extract it right here. But yeah. JS has named capture groups? Well, I didn't know that. That sounds really useful. Like this, it seems cool that I can give it a name and then not have to use like $1 or whatever else. All right, this is gonna work. Sweet! Look at it. I extracted the episode number. Yeah, simple as. All right. you won't catch me raw dogging regex. I try to write regular expressions from scratch. I feel like I know the basics. Once it gets into like weird capture groups and stuff, it's beyond me. But in JavaScript, you can do capture dot groups in the name. That's sweet. Then it like turns it into an object. That's awesome. All right. Moment of truth, full flow. We are going to take this episode, which has hours, and so that'll make sure that I can get those timestamps. It should also create an MP3 with a specific name. Delete all these MP3s. Here we go. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Yes. So it named it this.mp3. And then if we look at the notes, this branch doesn't have timestamp matching on it. So we're not going to see that actually. But it named it the right thing. And if I look in that folder, there is a MP3 file right there. Beautiful. That should do it. Just gonna double check the change codes here. I see you, Randy. Yeah, I'm glad I could work on this. I think I fixed the main things that were like kind of messing up your workflow. Once we get these merged in, I think Scott should be able to get you a new build. But yeah, have a good evening. See you later. So yeah, we have the episode ID by default, extract it. I guess the one thing I didn't test is if you drop a file that doesn't have a number on it, does it use the generated timestamp? It should, but let me just test that really quick. Yeah. So if there's no number in the file name, it's going to just create a file that has a timestamp on it. Cool. What if you drop a JavaScript file and rename it to MP3? I believe our codes has error checking for that. Like if you pass it into ffmpeg and it's like unknown file format, it should show the error. So what issue number is this? Number 27. Show an error for file name not having a number? Yeah, we could. I think ultimately you're going to end up, they'll see the file name and then they can just go change it manually for now anyways. I bet ffmpeg will just figure out the file type from the file rather than the extension. It does, yeah. So like I think it tries to, I don't know, probe it, convert it, and it'll tell you, hey, this isn't the right format. Yeah. Cool. But thank you for the follows, Calvaria and SQL Gordster. SQL Gordster, longtime coding garden viewer. Thanks for checking out the syntax channel. Yeah. So this sets file name to include show number, uses timestamp if input file does not have a number. Great. I'm happy we got some work done. I mean, some of them I spent probably too long on, but we got some stuff done. I'm happy about that. What happens if you press regenerate MP3 while the MP3 is currently generating? It'll probably break. I don't know. Haven't tested that. The magic codes in files like FFFB at the beginning of the file for MP3. Oh, like the there's some kind of encoding in the file itself that says the file type, and ffmpeg is able to read that. Yeah, I think that's how it goes. Sweet. That's it for today. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was super fun. Got lots of work done. And we'll do this again in 2 weeks. We'll probably work on a few more features on this app, but then we'll also be working on the syntax website because there's some other ongoing issues and features that we need to work on there as well. PR not linked with an issue. It should be. I put it in the commit name. Does that not automatically link the issue? I mean, it's there, and then if you look at issue number 27, it should, yeah, it pops up here. Yeah, I mean, there will be Svelte regardless, because the syntax website is built with Svelte too. Yeah, let me add it in the description, see if that changes anything. Successfully merging this pull request may close. Yeah, it has to be in the description. That's the cool thing though, is if this PR gets merged, it auto closes the issue. Didn't realize it had to be in the description though. Yeah, because now that links it up. And that one's linked up as well. Sweet. Sweet, 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 sweet. What's up, Harsh? Yeah, I'm heading out now, but it is good to see you as well. Friday next week? Yes, Friday next week I'm going to be doing a coding garden stream. So go follow over on the coding garden if you want to be there for that. And yeah, thank you for hanging out today, Scott. I appreciated all of your solutions for the CSS battles. It's always cool to see how other people do it. And thank you for your input while we're working on the app. Yeah, good stream, everybody. We got stuff done. I think I'll try to raid someone. How many people are watching on Twitch? Yeah, there's a few people watching on Twitch. I think we will try to raid on Twitch. So if you want to join us in that raid, head over to twitch.tv/syntaxfm. Let me get this ready. We're going to go find someone else who's working on some programming stuff, and we're going to send all our viewers over there after that. So yeah. And yeah, I agree. Tauri was pretty smooth. It was mainly just me figuring out regular expressions that was bad. Start streaming and then raid myself? No, I got some other work to do. You're very welcome, Chris. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to everybody else that hung out as well. That's all we got. Like I said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Or if you want to hang out over on the Coding Garden channel, I'll see you there in roughly a week, next Friday. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you, and stick around for the raid.